might be the most popular opera song ever sung. I don't know, but it's way up there. Pavarotti really made it, I think, elevated it to its original greatness. He sang that song when he was a lot younger. Of course, he sang it throughout his career, but he's not the only one. Now, if you're going to get ready to learn how to do Nessun Dorma, then you got to be ready. You need to be very prepared. You need a lot of water, right? And because you got to keep the pipes well hydrated and lubricated, right? Now, Luciano Pavarotti was the way he sang the song, it was with travail, because this is a very emotional piece. And he definitely uses a lot of vibrato, so the kind of like that. Not to be confused with Kenny Rogers, you know, like Lady, how's that go? Evermore you have gone. Anyways, I won't go there. But lady, I'm your knight in shining armor, and I love you. You have waited for. Look that up. Dolly Parton makes a big deal about that. But hey, it's good to have a good time, right? So, Nessun Dorma, back on task, right? Okay, so he was singing it with a lot of emotion and a lot of vibrato, so it was kind of like this. Wait, what's up with that mic? I need to get a better mic. This is an Apple, you know. Nessun Dorma, Nessun Dorma, tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle. So it's very serious, you know. And, you know, you also have some other greats. Of course, one of probably my favorite opera singer, Andrea Bocelli. And what an amazing job he did at the Olympics. The Winter Olympics, I think it was the closing game. And he has a way of doing it with such grace. I mean, he starts out just like so chill, like Nessun Dorma, Nessun Dorma, tu pure, principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle, and he saves his energy. Vincerò, anyways, so lots of energy, but he saves that energy. And of course, you know, you have to give me some grace here because we're doing this a cappella. And then you have David Phelps, a very notable Christian singer. I used to sing with the Gaither Vocal Band, doing solo stuff now. I got to hear him in concert, see him in concert not too long ago. An exceptional singer. If you look him up, he sings it because he's an amazing tenor. He doesn't have that like heavy voice like you would say Luciano Pavarotti had. His is a more lighter, airy kind of voice. Great voice, powerful, yes, but he has a little bit more of a pop sound when he does it. Nessun Dorma. And you know how when you're singing opera, you want to really, unless it calls for it, hit the note. Nessun Dorma. But unless it calls for you to you know, go up a half step or something. But with David Phelps, it's just it's very relaxed, and he's preserving his energy, yes. But he'll like kind of in that pop style, kind of flip up on the note. Nessun Dorma, Nessun Nessun Dorma. And it's great. I really like it. Stupore principessa nella tua fredda stanza. Guardi le stelle, centreman d'amore e di speranza. But he saves that energy for the end, and then he goes for it, and on the vincerò, and then he actually does it a second time at the end, like after he does his vincerò, which means I will conquer, I will win. And then he does it again. And it's really powerful. Now, I probably have been bouncing around all different keys because I'm like, okay, now how does that song start? Like in what key, because it's like I don't have an accompaniment track or pianist here to do it. When you're doing that final vincerò, you want to make sure that, at the very end, it breaks down syllables. Vincerò. There's like 3. Now, some people will hold that cer and then just go into ro. It's what, you got to do what works for you. And originally Pavarotti didn't hold out that ro. It was like just like 3 beats and he was done. But now a lot of the singers are really holding it out. Vincerò, vince, and then they'll stop. Or you could do less or more. I was showing out a little bit, but anyways. So that's it. Of course, the music is what really gives it the power and the excitement. And you can just hear it. It's a beautiful song. So those are my ramblings about Nessun Dorma. I don't know if I got you more up to speed on it or got you more confused, but it's fun to talk about it. And opera music is really, it just has a way of feeding our emotions, feeding us and encouraging us. And I really enjoy, because it goes through the whole gamut of emotions, right? Happiness, sadness, grief, intensity, all those things. Now, I don't just do opera music. I do a lot of other types of music, depending upon the occasion. I do worship at my church, so there's other styles that I do. And sometimes I do crossover stuff, as you've noticed, on this channel, including hymns or popular songs. But we try to keep the focus more on opera, because I think that's what I'm enjoying doing now a lot of the time, and I think you're enjoying it too. So we'll enjoy it together, and thank you so much for watching, for supporting my channel. What more can I say? Thank you for the likes, for the comments. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Thank you again for watching, and may God